Right. Lesbians, right?
That's your flaw.
Wow, that was awesome! I've said it before and I'll say it again. Chibnall knows how to write for classic Who villains. He just gets them. In a way, Moffat never did. Honestly, that was so good. Probably one of the best of Jodie's era. God, this writer who worked with Chris this episode was so good. Maybe Russell will bring her back. Top 5, easily. Okay, not everything was perfect. Oh yeah, that thing, that didn't really need to be there, did it? Do you remember this one line of dialogue? That was so stupid. I'm gonna clip it out of context on YouTube. Was it just me or was 13 kind of an arsehole this episode? I mean, dodgy messaging is completely consistent with the Chibnall era at this point. I don't know what to tell you. Well, I still liked it, even if what came after it was incredibly disappointing.
So yeah, I clearly did this well before this episode, based off the reactions to, I don't know, Resolution, Ascension of the Sidemen, Spyfall, War of the Sontarans. Only reactions to this seem to be a bit more sour than usual, especially this soon after the episode has aired. So either this is the straw that's finally broke the camel's back, or I'm just not as smart as I think I am. Or both. But to some extent, this isn't even the story's fault. All eras of Doctor Who hit that point, usually in the twilight years, where the formula starts to become a little tired. It happened with Troughton, it happened with Pertwee, it happened with Russell and Stephen to some extent. The problem is with the Chibnall era is that this formula wasn't very good to begin with. Like I said last time, the 80s were only able to get away with this kind of thing a couple of times before everyone cottoned on to the idea that bringing back an old monster and having them do their thing wasn't inherently worthwhile television. Yeah, sorry to anyone who might have enjoyed this one. I'm glad you did, but this time, Chibnall's gone after the legacy of one of my all-time favourite Doctor Who writers, and, well, I don't know if this is the worst Silurian story, but I can safely say that this is the worst moment from a Silurian story.
Where do they come from? Slight wrinkle there. Earth. They were here before humans. They regard Earth as their own planet. That's not good.
Seriously? You're not going to push back on that? Maybe point out that, hey, the Sea Devils kind of have a point and you should, I don't know, strive for peace rather than just treating them like generic bad guys? No? Too much nuance and work for you? I mean, there's a line about the leader being a zealot, but what's the point of doing the Sea Devils if you're not going to do anything with the reason they were invented? For all the shit Cold Blood gets, that's a much better take on this. Granted, there aren't a lot of classic villains that automatically relate to the sea, but you know what? Just take something from mythology and have that be the villain. That's what Curse of the Black Spot did, and that's clearly what you're aiming for. But I don't just think this is one of my all-time least favourite episodes just because of what it didn't do. It's also just not very well put together. The editing, especially at the start, just felt choppy. So much of the dialogue is just repetitive and half jokes and characters stating aloud their motivations and pointing out things that we don't need pointing out. And yeah, you've heard all this before, but it's not as if that point has gone away, has it?
In fact, this is just a reunion tour of all of our favourite problems with the Chibnall era. The Doctor goes, oh no, killing is wrong, and then Dan, a few minutes later, kills a whole bunch of them, and it's played as a joke.
It just felt like what I imagine listening to me talk about Doctor Who feels like. Just a barrage of noise and images. Some of them are pretty, some of them less so. It's not even bad in interesting ways, like Warriors of the Deep was. Not everything's awful. There's tiny little glimpses of quality or just fun. Like a nice joke or cute little character moments, like this guy discovering his sea legs for the first time, or this bit in the sword fight where the weapon changes colour to the same colour as the screwdriver. But yeah, maybe on a rewatch things will improve, but as of now, I just feel defeated by this thing.
Now, this brings us on to Thasmin, and at first I really liked the scene. I liked the dialogue, I liked how it slowed down and just let our actors talk like people. And whether or not it's queer baiting, I'm not LGBTQIA+, so I won't speak for them. I will just listen to whatever thoughts they have on the subject. But what I will say is, aside from it being just a bad message in general,
If I do fix myself to somebody, I know sooner or later it'll hurt.
People have travelled with me and I've lost them. Lost them all. Never again.
yeah. When I made that connection, the one redeeming thing this episode kind of had for me just went like that. Right, and so speaking of Thasmin, it's time for... Well, you know what it's time for. Hello? You're meant to be mentioning that ladies being in love with ladies is, propaganda or something, or grooming. You like playing that one, don't you?
Thasmin! How could she say that to her after everything they've been through?
Oh.
Christ, what are these two doing to me?
Oh, okay.
Worst episode ever returns next Wednesday. I'm going to try and get back into some more Hartnell. A few more people have been subscribing lately, so if we can keep that up, I would greatly appreciate it. Thank you all for watching, and have a lovely evening.